idea for the show.
I still don't know what the idea is.
It's about nothing.
Right.
Everybody's doing something. We'll do nothing.
They say, what's your show about? I say nothing.
There you go.
I think you may have something here.
Cross Coast Spice presents the League About Nothing podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We have our Week 12 recap. Al, you have nothing to complain about this week. You were the number one overall scorer, so let me ask, how are you?
It was a good week.
It's the first time you said that this season.
It's the first time I've been the top scorer this season.
Maybe the second time. I don't know. And we had a league median this week of 188.5. Really nothing special there. Kind of standard to what we have been having. And before we get to the matchups, we did have a couple of trades. We do have a couple of waivers to discuss, which is, I guess, unusual these days to have actual waivers to talk about. There's really only two guys that I want to mention. We'll start with the bigger of the two, which was Big won the claim on Gabe Davis with a $23 wager. Or, wager? Bid? I don't know. I don't think wager is the right word. Bid. Second highest, Al, you were closest at $21. I bid 14, Mel bid 3, and then there was a couple $0 bids from Mr. Good News and JMC. So a good job by Big outguessing you 23 to 21.
I tried to bid more than $0. It didn't work.
Astoundingly. I think that's that would have been the fourth time this year that you actually managed to spend fab. Somewhere around.
I got a couple players on this waiver run.
Yeah,
I did
true.
spend some fab finally. Now that we're in week 12, the season's almost over.
Yeah, we'll spoil it here. You picked up John Fitzpatrick for $13, which I'm pretty sure is like $1 less than I bid on him like 3 weeks ago before I dropped him.
It's exactly the same.
Is
That's how I knew what to bid on him.
Sure.
Just went back and looked at what you bid and said, all right, that one last time. That's a Packers starting tight end, by the way.
Right. What's with that? They're not using Musgrave at all.
Nope. For some reason, they decided that Fitzpatrick should get the majority of the snaps the last 2 weeks.
They must just
hate
Musgrave or something. I don't understand. He lost his original job to Kraft, which I kind of was like, all right, that makes sense. Kraft is really good. But right. I don't think the same is quite true of John Fitzpatrick.
I don't think that either. I'm not 100% sure what's happening.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a schematic thing. They don't like his blocking and they want somebody that can produce after the catch like Kraft did. I don't think that's Fitzpatrick either, but maybe he's just out there because he can block better. I'm not sure what's going on. Any tight end getting snaps is worth picking up in this league.
Right. That's absolutely the truth. Well, you actually picked up 2 Packers tight ends in this waiver run. I wasn't going to mention it, but since you said that, you also picked up Wiley. I think
because they're both out snapping Musgrave right now.
Crazy.
And Wiley scored a touchdown last week.
I guess someone has to catch passes there. And
it's not been a great year for the Green Bay passing game.
All right, before we move on from waivers, I do want to talk a little bit about Gabe Davis. He only had 1 catch this week, but no one has really distinguished themselves in that Buffalo wide receiver room. I guess Shakir this week was pretty good, but most of that came on, I think, 1 drive. So I don't even know if you could say it was anything more than just that short sequence of plays. So it's possible that as Gabe Davis gets a little bit more reintegrated here, it could prove useful for Big.
Yeah, it's been a tough year for Buffalo pass catchers. They just signed Brandon Cooks earlier today.
Yeah, after he got cut on Saturday, or released, I should say, not cut.
Yeah, after the Saints did some funny business with his contract to make sure that no one would claim him off waivers. Made sure that he would clear waivers so he can choose the team he wanted to sign with. The NFL was not happy about that. They refused to process the release for like 3 days.
No team does stranger things with the salary cap than the Saints.
We'll call it creative accounting.
Creative. Yeah, they always seem to have some trick or another up their sleeves. Do you remember the Taysom Hill contract for 160 million with like 4 void years on it, where it was
Yeah.
actually like a 1 year deal, but it was announced as like 4 years, 160 million, but actually he was just getting a bunch of money for 1 year.
Right. I
Okay.
mean, they're not the only team that does that, but yeah, they've
I
seemingly
think,
been in salary cap hell for the last 2 decades
yeah.
plus.
No, they're definitely not the only team that does that, but I can't remember an example that was quite at that level.
Yeah, that's pretty egregious.
Okay, so that's about it for the waivers. Let's take a quick look at the trades that we had this week. It was down from last week where we had five to discuss, I think it was. This week we only have two, and they're both pretty straightforward trades. The first was between Criddle and myself. Criddle picked up a 2026 first round pick attached to JMC's roster and Jordan James. And in return, I picked up CJ Stroud and a 2026 fifth round pick attached to Mel's roster. This is pretty basic. It was a quarterback for a first round pick.
Yeah, and it should be a pretty early first round pick. That pick's going to be either 104 or 105
Yep.
at worst. So it's going to be a fairly high pick, but really we need to have a discussion about CJ Stroud because we talked at least a month ago on this show. I said that he was part of the problem.
Yeah.
And then we saw Davis Mills come in and rip off three straight wins in relief while he's out with a concussion.
Right.
And I mean, the offense hasn't looked amazing, but it's looked a little more productive than when Stroud was out there.
They have certainly been a little bit better. I think part of that is quality of opponent as well. But yes, he Mills has done better than Stroud was doing at the end of things. I don't know if there's a whole lot to take away from that. We see this happen all the time with the backups that come in and they have a spark for a couple of games. It's just something different, something that wasn't on tape. And then things sort of settle down and we realize, oh, yeah, they were the backup for a reason.
Yeah, but I mean, the reason that you were able to buy CJ Stroud at this price
Yeah.
was because now we've had a year and a half, almost 2 years of him being thoroughly mediocre, we'll say, to be kind. He has not been what he was his rookie year.
It's true. He has not lived up to the rookie year hype where he rose all the way up to the dynasty QB 2 or 3. I can't remember exactly where he peaked.
Yeah, after his rookie year, he was going 101 in startups and for a good chunk of the year, good chunk of the offseason.
Yeah, and at the time, most of us were saying that's ridiculous. He should have been going high, but not nearly that high.
Yeah, we said it on the season preview show
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, I believe. We talked about it for sure.
I approached Criddle about this one, said, "Are you interested in, moving Stroud?" And floated the idea of the first round pick, and he basically said, "Yeah, if you're paying a first, I'm selling." So we hashed it out from there. It wasn't really a prolonged negotiation because it was I came in at the price that he liked, so it was quick and easy.
Yeah, I know we had discussed previously about what you were going to do with your quarterback three spot with Penix out for the year and
Yeah.
Burrow on the verge of returning.
Right. I'm gonna lose out on all those sweet Joe Flacco games where he throws 800 passes to one receiver.
So, assuming Stroud ever comes back from this concussion, problem solved.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah, it was
it is a concussion that's lingering now. This is going to be what his fourth. This is going to be his fourth week missed.
yeah, short week again this week with the Thanksgiving games. It just it feels it feels a little light, but I understand maybe wanting to re-roll CJ Stroud after the last almost 2 years now of not really elite fantasy production, but
Right.
he's still kind of got that elite name because
Yeah.
of his rookie year and because he's seemingly a locked in long-term starter. You got that stability and the age. You would assume it would cost more than this, but obviously every deal happens in a vacuum. We can't take deals that happen here and go into the greater dynasty market and compare them. Every league has its own unique economy. We've seen some varying quarterback values in other trades that don't always line up with what we expect the market to bear out. So it was definitely an interesting trade from both parties.
I looked at it saying, this will be my quarterback three. I don't need him to be elite. I need him to be a stable factor. And I think that
Right.
that's what I can expect from Stroud once he's back and healthy.
Yeah, and that's what you were hoping you were getting from Penix, right? He was a locked-in
Exactly.
quarterback on a rookie contract. They invested heavily in the first round, and now, well, we're not so sure about the stability. He's now had his third ACL tear in the last 7 years, two on one knee. He wasn't exactly flashing elite upside in the games that he did play. Now you're looking at a full year until he can come back. So he may not be ready at the beginning of next year. And if the Falcons continue to lose, you're probably going to have a new GM and head coach, which means
Right.
the new regime that's not tied to him at all. They don't have the picks to replace him or the money to replace him. They have a very expensive backup already there in Cousins. So they don't have a ton of flexibility unless they get rid of Cousins to try to bring in a different veteran backup. It's an interesting situation with Penix that prompted this move.
If they cut him after this year, they'll have a $35 million dead cap for next year and a 12.5 million for the last year of the 27 and 27. So they'll probably do that.
He's not going to make more than that on the open market.
No. I mean, they'd have to pay that to keep him as well, to be fair. It'd be exactly the same.
Right.
So actually,
If Penix
I don't know.
isn't ready, if Penix isn't ready to start the season, they're probably just going to hold on to Cousins.
Well, I would say here's the thing. The base salary for next year is 35 million. The dead cap is 35 million. They're not saving anything.
Right.
And they can cut him the year after still for the 12.5 million. I guess what's the point? So they'd probably keep him again next year for the 35 because you're paying it one way or the other, and then cut him the year after at the 12.5.
Yeah, the
At
Penix
which point
injury.
that'll save him 25 or $23.5 million.
Penix injury definitely changed the calculus there.
Yeah.
As it changed the calculus for your team, which is why you went after CJ Stroud in the
Right.
first place.
Yeah. This puts Criddle in a very interesting position. You said that the pick that he got was JMC's first round pick, or I said that, but you said that that pick is either going to be 4 or 5. Well, the other pick that's either going to be 4 or 5 is Criddle's first round pick, which he does not own at this point. So now Criddle has an interest in making JMC's pick better, which means that he now wants to outscore JMC over the last 2 weeks of the season because they're pretty close in total points.
Yes, outscoring JMC improves his draft position because he owns the other pick.
The opposite pick. It's very antithetical to what we normally see from the teams at the lower half of the league.
And with 2 weeks left, they are currently separated by 2 points in max points for. So it's a very close race.
This is fantastic.
104 and 105.
So I guess we probably won't see Criddle making any, last minute player dumps just because he wants those points for the next couple weeks.
Right. Gonna start trading for more players.
I doubt he does. I doubt he does that, but maybe he'll trade with JMC and try and get some of the points there. And JMC has no incentive, obviously, because he doesn't have his own pick or Criddle's pick, so he's just kind of, I think, doing whatever he thinks is best for his team.
Yeah, that is by far my favorite storyline over the last 2 weeks. Forget about the playoff spots and the bye weeks. This is what I'm watching.
Right. We had one other deal. It was a trade between Mel and Mr. Good News. Mel picked up Mason Rudolph in a 2027 fifth round pick attached to JMC's roster. And in return, Mr. Good News picked up a 2026 fifth round pick attached to JMC's roster. Al, could you explain this pick and pick swap and player swap to us?
The commitment to the bit. This is Mr. Good News doing what he needs to do to get points off of his roster.
Yep, that's exactly it.
He jettisoned Mason Rudolph and picked up a fifth round pick for a fifth round pick.
Yeah.
Although he does move up a year.
Yeah.
So
he moves up a year, so I guess almost always in the year you can trade that for a future fourth. So maybe he'll get a 2027 fourth to add to the collection he has if anyone else has any left.
he got some value for Mason Rudolph. That's
Yeah.
enough. We're not expecting Rudolph to get more than the start that he got this week. Seemed like Rodgers took it all the way up basically until kickoff.
Yeah.
And Rudolph is not the highest ceiling
No.
backup in the league anyway. So,
This was a single week points dump. Again, I'd call it a salary dump, but we don't have those.
right. Yeah. Mel took a shot for
Right.
basically free to
Yeah.
see if we could get some more quarterback depth. He's had a few quarterbacks fall by the wayside in the last few weeks. So,
Right.
needed the depth.
Yeah, we don't have to spend very long on this one. Okay, nothing else for trades, nothing else for waivers. Bit of a slow week on both fronts, but that lets us get to the matchups.
Finally.
Finally, this is one of the fastest times to the matchups we've had recently.
Good.
Good. All right.
Talk
I
about
said
me now.
as I said before, we had a league median this week of 188.5, and Al was our highest scoring team. Al
Oh,
put up a 245.57, and he was up against Rug, that poor bastard, who was our fourth highest scoring team. Rug put up a 212.72. This
Uh,
guy cannot catch a
we
break.
talked a couple weeks ago about all of these rough losses that he's had over the median and losing head to head.
Yep.
And
Another week against the number one scoring team. Congrats, Rug.
oh, just continuing the luck has not evened out for him.
It really hasn't.
Maybe next year.
Oh man. All right. So let's start with the reason why you were the number one scoring team this week.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Have you heard about this guy named Jahmyr Gibbs? He put up 57.65 points. What an incredible game.
Yeah, pretty good. 219 yards rushing, 12 targets. Only 45 yards on a touchdown, but I mean 12 targets in the passing game is pretty good. It's Christian McCaffrey level work.
It is. It he did everything. This puts him at the fifth highest single game score in our league's history. So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I
pretty
think I think there's only like three players ahead of him as well because half of those are
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase. Yeah. But an
That's
absolutely incredible week. I'm pretty sure that's the highest anyone has had this year because that was more than Bowers and more than Josh Allen, and I think those are the
yeah,
two guys.
Bowers had the highest this year previously.
Yeah, I'm a Giants fan, and I had to watch this happen.
Not fun.
He looks faster now than when he came into the league, and he was really fast then.
Not sure that's possible.
Yeah.
The best part about Gibbs doing this to the Giants was it finally got your wish granted and your defensive coordinator fired.
Oh yeah, no, that was I've been waiting for that for a few months now.
So you're welcome.
The Giants have lost 4 games in which they held second half 10-point leads on the road.
Yeah, 5 games this year in total where they've had double-digit leads.
Yeah.
That's an NFL record. Congratulations.
I would rather not have that record.
Still got a few more weeks to.
Can
to
we give
add
that
to
back? Is that an option?
it.
Yeah. Bowen out the door. Good riddance.
Mercifully.
It was a fun game though. There was over 1,000 yards of offense. Jameis Winston catching touchdown passes.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about Jameis.
all that
coming
all
up.
that stuff. But just you need to be able to maybe not give up a 60-yard rush on the first play of overtime.
Right. Yeah.
Having Dexter Lawrence on the bench for that one is not a great look.
No.
And he's not a player that needs to go to the bench really ever, except for, if he needs a breather. And I'm
Right.
guessing that he had a breather before, again, the first play of overtime.
Yeah, not ideal.
I don't have it in front of me, but the numbers, like the yards per rush with him on and off the field were like, when he's on the field, 4 yards a rush, and when he's off, it was like 17.
Oh God, he's good.
Enough about the Giants for the millionth time. I've said that. There was, there was a couple other players in this matchup over the 30-point margin. They were both on Ruggs' side. Wandale Robinson, speaking of the Giants, with a 34.35. Apparently, he is the only one that Jameis likes to throw to.
Yeah, he's now the only player in the NFL this season besides JSN to have multiple 140 yard and a touchdown receiving games this year. It's just him and JSN.
Uh, this is not the Wandale we saw the last couple of years.
We talked about it. I mean, we've talked about it before on here, but we talked about in the preseason that they were using him down the field more and it was
Right.
interesting usage for him. And it's borne out over the season.
In PPR scoring this year, he's a top 12 wide receiver right now.
Yeah, I mean, especially since Neighbors went down,
Yeah.
he's been the focal point of the offense more weeks than not.
He's been somewhat inconsistent. He's had games of 4, 5, 9, 9, 9 points, but all the rest of them have been really good. 32, 23, 19, 16, 15, 34. Good weeks in there. Some spike games as well up in the 30 point.
Yeah, for a player that's mostly been known for his floor, he's had quite a few ceiling games this year.
Yeah. One other 30-point player for Ruggs' team, Hunter Henry with a 31.75. I think Drake May really likes Hunter Henry.
Hey, welcome back. Hunter Henry's been absent for the last several
Yeah.
weeks. But playing Cincinnati's defense will help a tight end. They are historically bad against tight ends.
They're
And
historically bad against everyone.
Henry and Hooper both had good games.
Right. So solid days from those two. Only one other player on Ruggs' team over the 20-point margin, but it was Emmanuel Wilson, who almost made it to 30 points. He had 28.75. Great game filling in for Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, he had a handful of ceiling games from some of his players. That's
Right.
what got him over the median. He just had so many guys that were injured or
Mhm.
missed this week that it was just tough to put up enough points to beat my team when you're going against a team with one guy getting 57 points.
If
It's,
we if we
so,
removed the 57-point game and gave him, let's say, an average 25-point game, you would have lost
right,
this matchup.
right. It was definitely Gibbs.
Well, that's why you have guys like that on the team.
Yep. Yeah, it was another valiant effort in defeat from Rugg,
Right. Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, he doesn't have any big duds on the roster. Like, he's got Trey Tucker in his last flex spot at 7 points, but everyone else over 9 points, two guys at nine, everybody else in double digits in the teens. Like, not even any low double digits, no 10s, 11s, 12. All of them are 14 and up. And
Yeah,
just
it's
tailed off a
it's
little bit at the end.
it's honestly amazing that he put up this many points when you look at the guys that are out, injured, or on bye.
He's got a lot of injuries that he's dealing with right now.
Daniels, Jacobs, Hampton, Addison Goose-egged and did play and didn't do anything.
Right.
Bateman, Thomas, Harrison, Iomanner. There's a lot of players that are missing this week.
Yeah, Jalen Polk. Yeah, I mean, just so many guys.
Jalen Polk.
No, he's got a lot of players out injured right now. I think a lot of these guys should be back soon for the playoffs. They just opened up the practice window for Hampton, so that should help. Who knows with Thomas and Marv? Marv's recovering from appendix, so it's not a typical football injury. It's kind of tough to judge when he'll actually be okay to play.
Yeah, we don't know any of the details, obviously, of what happened. We've seen players come back within a week from an appendix, but we've also seen players be out longer. We don't know if it actually ruptured inside of him or if they took it out in time or what. It could be very different recovery times based on what
Yeah.
actually happened.
Yeah, and also the type of removal, if they had to cut versus like laparoscopic and stuff.
Right. Yep.
So obviously we don't have any information on any of that, and I'm sure that we'll know more when he's healthy. But until then, all right, let's take a look at your team here. There was some other good scores on your roster. Dak Prescott, 28.56. How do you feel about the fact that it seems to be Pickens getting more work than CD right now?
Well, if CD could catch the ball, I would understand throwing it to him more often, but he seems to have a case of the yips this year.
4 catches this week, 75 yards, but he had 11 targets.
Yeah, and he dropped at least three of them.
Yeah. Strange stuff in Dallas. All right. Other players on your roster over 20 points. We had I can't believe that I have to say this on your roster. John Mechie, 21.5 points. Apparently is the number one target in New York now. And also Chris Olave, 20 points.
It's a low bar to clear in New York. They picked him up in a dump trade a couple of weeks ago, and he's ascended immediately into the clear wide receiver one role for this team.
Right. Everybody was excited about Mitchell, and oops, apparently, we got the wrong Jets receiver.
I mean, Mitchell also saw 7 targets in this game. It's just he had a hard time catching them,
Yeah,
similar to
shocking.
what we saw in Indianapolis.
He's listed on their depth chart. Mitchell is as their wide receiver one right now.
Yeah, he plays the X
I
role
have
for them.
doubts.
He plays the X role for them. He's going to kind of be that field stretching X role that he briefly held in Indianapolis before he fumbled the ball infamously going into the end zone. But yeah, Mechie's become a reliable target for them, shockingly, after years of basically doing nothing. He's finally getting a good opportunity. This was a guy that was a very productive receiver in college and went through that cancer diagnosis his rookie year, basically missed the entire year. And he's kind of struggled, bounced around the bottom of depth charts. This is now his third team in the last 3 years, but he's finally getting an opportunity, a real opportunity. Unfortunately, it's for the Jets, so we don't know how real that opportunity actually is.
Again, the biggest problem with this for me is that he's doing this on your team because I drafted Mechie and I held on to him all the way through to this year. And then finally I cut bait, I don't know, sometime in October. And here we are, and I have to watch this happen.
Never wrong, only early.
Decent game for Olave. He's just continues to get a ridiculous number of targets, and he's been fine for fantasy, but it's a lot of empty yards.
Yeah, they're not high value targets because he plays for the Saints. But
It's a stack for you.
the Shuck Olave stack.
Yeah. Only slightly fewer points this week than your Dak CD stack. Only other thing I think worth mentioning before we move on from this matchup is it does appear as though Rugg has a little bit more tight end depth than we might have thought, because in addition to Henry, he's got Gunnar Helm and Theo Johnson in the lineup. He's been kind of flip-flopping back and forth between one of those two guys in there most of the year, but they both appear to have stepped up at least a little bit in recent weeks.
Yeah, Helm was the Titans' #1 receiver this week, even though he's still splitting snaps and routes and targets with Chega Okonkwo. He was the far more productive one this week, and he was the most productive Tennessee receiver in arguably or inarguably Cam Ward's best game of the year.
Yeah, we will get to that when we get to JMC's team, but Ward looked good this week. Well, relatively. I mean, it gets a tougher defense anyways. Okay. That wraps up that matchup. Let's go to our next one. Our next highest scoring team was my team. I was up this week against Mr. Good News. I put up a 241.21, and Mr. Good News was our 12th highest scoring team and put up 74 points on the dot.
Hey, mission accomplished, Mr. Good News. Finally opened up a big lead in that
Right.
least
The headline
points scored.
story in this one. This almost surely this week will solidify Mr. Good News as the 101. Obviously, anything could happen in the last couple weeks and all, but to spoil up ahead a little bit, Judd actually had a decent week and almost doubled up the points that Mr. Good News had this week, which opens up a 70-point gap that didn't really exist before.
Yep.
All right, in this game, no players on Mr. Good News' side over that 20-point margin. His best player this week was Jaden Higgins, 15.8. He had 0 in his quarterback spot and 0 in his super flex spot, which is just incredible work. which explains why he had the .00 to finish his score. This is probably interesting to only me, but I looked at every score in the league over the course of the year. There have only been two times that a team finished with an even number, like a whole number, I should say, like 74.00. Both games were Mr. Good News, and both games were against my team. I don't I don't know what to take away from that information, but it was interesting to me. So there it is. Now you all know that too. For the record,
Again,
he did have a
you need more hobbies.
for the record, he did have a quarterback in the other matchup score points. It was week 1, and he had .10 points from Jalen Milrow. Anyway, on the other side of this matchup, I had one player over the 30-point margin. It was JSN, who was over the 40-point margin. He had 40.6. That dude is good.
So good. So
He's
good.
incredible.
He was already leading the league in receiving yards, and he uh increased his lead after this week
Right.
with 167 more yards.
Don't forget the one carry for 4 yards.
Yeah, he's been incredible this year and just incredibly consistent. He's been good every single week, basically.
I could not possibly be happier with the player. I think right now 4 yards a game shy of or off pace for the receiving record. So it's
Just incredible on a team that doesn't really want to throw and
yeah,
limits their passing game as
right.
much as possible. He's just he's going to have the best yard per routes run season in since we've been tracking that stat.
He already set the single season receiving record for the Seahawks. Dude, it's November 25th. We got more than a month left.
It's not even Thanksgiving yet.
Like, okay, sure. It's just one of those where you look at it and you just kind of shrug and say, yeah, that's pretty good. What do you do about that? I don't know. Nothing you can do. All right. Other players in this matchup over 20 points. There was a few. Austin Genty. I say Austin. I've done that like 5 times. Ashton Genty. I don't know why I say Austin every time. Ashton Genty, 26.55. James Cook, 22. Rashee Rice, 29 points. And Puka at 21. Basically the usual suspects, and then Genty as well.
Yeah, Genty's had a tough season. Raiders have fired their offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly,
About time.
after firing their special teams coordinator a couple weeks ago. Can only assume the defensive coordinator is coming next. It hasn't been a great year one for
No,
old
it's
Petey
been awful.
Sunshine. They
And
probably shouldn't have taken running back with their early first round
No.
pick. Seems like they had bigger problems on this roster.
Yeah, 6th overall is when if you earned the 6th overall pick, a running back is not what you need. I don't care what the circumstances of it are. It's not like even like the year that Peyton Manning got hurt and the Colts ended up with Andrew Luck, like if for whatever reason, they had ended up with the 6th pick there and taken a generational prospect at running back, it still would have been the wrong thing, even with Peyton Manning coming back the next year. Just you have too many other problems.
Yeah, clearly.
And now we have to suffer through Genty behind that offensive line.
Yeah.
Did you see the blocking on the play where he got tackled like in the end zone?
Air quotes blocking.
Yeah, there was matadors out there. They were holding up the cloth and then pulling it back, and there's the running back. Go at him.
It's been a frustrating season for him.
Yeah.
But he's been much more involved in the passing game recently, and that's kind of buoyed his fantasy production at least. 8 receptions in this game.
58 yards on 8 catches, a touchdown as well. Why weren't they throwing to him before? It was in his draft profile. It's not like he didn't catch the ball in college.
Well, I mean, they had all these great receivers earlier in the year. that they had to get the ball to instead.
Sorry. Oh man, all these great receivers. Yeah. We had a lot of preseason hype for Dante Thornton, and Besh was one of the draft darlings and everything. That hasn't worked out.
Yeah, but it's fine because, now they're giving 60 snaps a game to Tyler Lockett. And that's why your offensive coordinator gets fired.
Uh, Lockett hasn't even been bad. That's the thing. Like
Right. But if you're pulling out the string and you need to be evaluating players for potential
yeah,
roles
it's
next
true.
year, you shouldn't bring Tyler Lockett off the street to
Right.
block your highly drafted rookies. At some
Signing and
point,
playing Lockett in this instance is if you are in position to make a playoff run and you need, you have a guy and then you need a number two or three or whatever, and
right.
you
This isn't
bring
the
him in.
Bills signing Brandon Cooks.
Right. This is a different team in a different situation. Before we move on, just one injury to discuss, and I guess we didn't already devote enough time to Genty talk because Genty left the game at the end of the game, fourth quarter, only a few minutes left, with an ankle injury. Not entirely sure what's going on there.
Yeah, we'll have to wait to see if he practices. The game was out of hand at that point because Shador Sanders was guiding the Browns to a blowout victory of the Las Vegas Raiders. So, not a good year for Vegas. And that's why half of their coaches have already been fired before they could even complete the first year of their contracts. All we know is they've said there's a chance he can play this week. Doesn't look like anything severe or long term, but we'll see. We'll see what the practice reports yield.
Yeah, hopefully it's not serious. Hopefully it's not long term. We'll know more soon, hopefully, and that's about it. All right, let's move on to our next matchup. Our next highest scoring team was Mel's team. Mel was our third highest scorer this week. He put up a 236.41. Mel was up against Flinch, who was our 11th highest scoring team. Flinch put up an 82.32.
Some ugly matchups this week.
We didn't
Haves
have,
versus the have-nots.
yeah, we didn't have very many real, like really your team and Rug's team were the only two potential playoff teams playing against each other. Every other one was have against have not, as you put it. So in this matchup for Flinch's roster, only one player over that 20-point margin. Welcome back, Brenton Strange, 20.05.
Yeah, welcome back indeed. He's been out for a while with that hip injury. It's nice to see him come back and get right back into the flow of offense. Especially with Thomas out, they really needed some additional targets to step up. The tight ends that they've been rotating in his place, Hunter Long before he got hurt, and Johnny Munt and Morris, and yeah, it's not been very productive. So I'm sure the offense was happy to get Strange back.
Right. And he looked good. He had 5 catches, 93 yards. All right. On Mel's side of this matchup, there was some pretty good scores because, again, Mel was our third highest score, and it was only 9 points off your top score. Over 30 points, he had George Pickens, 34.85 points, the wide receiver one in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, he's he's one of only two receivers that are over 1,000 yards on the season now with JSN, right?
Is that true? Is there only two guys over 1,000 yards? JSN has 1,300 yards right now. What the hell?
Yeah, I think Pickens is the only other one on the season.
I
Let me
did
check.
not know that. The usual suspects like CD and Chase and Jefferson for various reasons
Yes,
have not had the normal kind of years.
JSN 1,300 yards, Pickens 1,054. Next is Puka with 947.
And Puka missed time too.
Yep.
Jeez.
So yeah, the only two receivers that are currently over 1,000 yards on the season.
Well, he had 146 yards this week, so that did a good chunk of that damage right there.
Yeah, he's had a
Another
great year, and he's getting the franchise tag after the season, I think.
right. He's either a deal or the
They're-
franchise tag if
Yeah,
they can
they're
come
not
to
letting
an
him go.
agreement. No, no, he works well with Dak. They seem to be on the same page. the skill sets seem to line up. It's a good marriage there.
Yeah, we thought it would be in the offseason, and
Yeah.
it's been even more fruitful than we expected.
Yeah. Well, you looked at it. Pickens had some of the best downfield numbers, and Dak was the best downfield thrower by advanced metrics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jerry Jones apparently still knows what he's doing.
Well,
Maybe.
even a broken clock is right a couple times a day, right?
All right. Other players from Mel's team over 20 points. AJ Brown almost broke that 30-point margin, 29 and a half. DJ Moore, 25. Kareem Hunt, 23. Derrick Henry, 23 and a half. And Parker Washington, 21.
Yeah, some of these are surprising additions to the 20 plus scores.
Well, I'm going to start with AJ Brown because A, he had the most points, and B, it's kind of almost surprising to see him there at this point. He's
Yeah,
been
unfortunately,
he's
it's
been
not been
so
that year.
disappointing this year.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's more disappointed than he is,
No, probably not.
based on the reports coming out of Philly.
And the reports coming off the internet where he's streaming on Twitch saying, "If
The
you have me in
reports,
fantasy, don't play me."
the reports coming out of his mouth.
Right. I'm gonna have to ask Criddle what chapter this is in the book where you complain about it all.
Hey, you know what? It worked this week. 10
Sure.
targets.
He's
Also
had
playing Dallas helps.
right. So he's had 30 points twice in the last 4 weeks, maybe, but the other games surrounding those have been less impressive,
Yeah.
including a
It's been
3.8 point performance 2 weeks ago.
it's been an interesting season from this Philadelphia offense.
Right. Well, maybe this is a sign of things to come. Maybe this is a one-off. I don't know. They were up 21-0 in this game, and then they stopped throwing
Lost.
and lost and didn't score again. So I don't know what that means.
Yeah, this is not the same team that we saw last year.
No, certainly not. All right, how about DJ Moore? Apparently choosing to be the wide receiver one again this week.
Yeah, I think Chicago has like a spin wheel and they just spin to decide who's going to be the wide receiver one of the week. Just it changes every week. The offense spreads the ball around. They don't have a true alpha number one. They have a bunch of guys who can step into that role, which is good for them, not as fun for fantasy because we never know who we can depend on from week to week. But in best ball, it doesn't matter.
Right. In best ball, you get the weeks where they show up. And this week, DJ Moore, 2 touchdowns, one of them on a completely blown coverage over the middle. He just got the ball and walked backwards into the end zone with no one standing within 20 feet of him.
Not the first time we've seen that from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And it won't be the last, I'm sure. We don't have any Pittsburgh fans in the league, do we?
None that have admitted it publicly.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we know who everyone's a fan of at this point. We got to diversify more. We've got 2 Broncos fans and 2 Philly fans. You guys flip coins. One of each of you needs to switch to a new team. I don't care who.
Decide amongst yourselves.
Yeah, right. All right. Good days for Hunt. Good days for Hunt and Henry at the running back position for Mel. I wonder if this is the most points scored by 2 running backs over the age of 30 for our fantasy league. I'm not going to go back and do that much digging, but I'm willing to bet it probably is.
I mean, it was a productive game for Hunt. It wasn't a super efficient game. 30 carries to get over 100 yards, but that's just the way that Kansas City needed to win this game, was kind of grinded out against Indianapolis. And Pacheco continues to be out, so they don't trust anyone else to really run the ball. So it's been all Kareem Hunt while Pacheco's been out. He's been scoring touchdowns every week. So it's been helpful for fantasy.
I think they said Pacheco was due back this week, so it could change a little bit, but I don't know. I think they trust.
He practiced a little bit last week, so
Yeah.
I think this week they're expecting him to be able to do more.
Right. I think they trust Hunt in certain situations where they don't necessarily trust Pacheco, though.
They definitely trust Hunt around the goal line because he's been the guy all year.
Right.
Even if he's not getting the majority of the carries, he's always in there when they get close.
He'll have value going forward. It might not be as much as he has without Pacheco there, though.
Yeah, it's similar to what we saw last year.
Uh, Parker Washington seems to be on the same page as Trevor Lawrence, which normally I'd say is a good thing, but man, Trevor Lawrence sucks, so that might be a bad thing.
Well, he's the only one that has played with Trevor Lawrence for more than a week, so
Right.
we could really use Brian Thomas back. Although Brian Thomas also sucked for most of this year, so not sure if that's a Lawrence problem or a Thomas problem.
Yep. Okay, before we talk about injuries in this one, just one thing I want to point out. Mel had his tight end position filled by Travis Kelsey and Noah Gray, both of whom are on the same team. We've seen this a few times this year from various teams, I think from your team at least once, where,
Multiple times for my
where
team.
both the tight ends starting for the fantasy team are the same as the tight end starting for a real team. And that,
Yeah, it was a bit of a down week from his tight ends,
yeah,
unfortunately. He hasn't it's been rough since he lost Tucker Kraft. He's not getting that same ceiling that he's gotten out of both
no,
the tight end spots.
no. And it could get worse because to transition into that injury segment right there, Noah Gray has a concussion, and obviously they play on Thursday this week. So my guess is that he probably won't be active.
Yeah, it would be
Mhm.
extremely difficult to get through the concussion protocol in only a couple of days
Yeah.
based on the steps that they have laid out.
That
It's
sort
a
of thing.
stretch. It's
That
a
sort of
stretch to
thing.
do it in 7 days.
Yeah, that sort of thing only happens week 17 and 18.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to move on to our next matchup. But before we do, Al just brought something to my attention. Apparently, Jacoby Keeney James is a real person and is on Flinch's roster. And Mel, as always, picks the best option to fill those 0 point scores. This is Flinch's super flex score. Al, have you ever heard this name before in your life?
Oh, sure, the rookie from UMass. Yeah, he's a legend.
UMass guy?
Yeah, he's a legend in Massachusetts.
I
I did not know this was the actual player in the NFL. I believe he is on the Packers practice squad, and he is on Flinch's roster for some reason.
He has played 0 snaps this year.
Yeah, he's on the practice squad.
So
I don't
I guess he
believe he's
probably hasn't
been
even been elevated.
elevated to the active, despite the numerous Green Bay Packer wide receiver injuries. He has not made his way onto the active roster yet, but he is in Flinch's starting lineup this week. So no, I have no scouting report on this
Okay.
player.
We have I think we might have a new record here. This is almost exclusively because of Flinch's affiliation with the Broncos, but he has 16 players on bye this week
Because the Broncos were on by.
because the Broncos were on bye. I mean, I think when Big had his really crazy week, it was 14 players on bye. But either way, we're up there. This is a lot of, it's almost all Broncos or former Broncos.
And that's how Jacoby Keeney James gets in your lineup, folks.
Right. That'll do it. Okay, before we get any further down those rabbit holes, let's move on to our next matchup. Our next highest scoring team was Flea's team. Flea this week was our fifth highest scoring team. She put up a 196.93, and she was up against Criddle, who was our ninth highest scoring team, with a 141.31.
Yeah, the Eagles got to play Dallas's terrible defense this week, so good score for Criddle.
Good score for Criddle, and a 30-point game from Jalen Hurts, the only 30-point scoring player in this matchup, 31.61. As you said, they played Dallas, and that defense is not great, and they were all over it in the first half. Don't really know what happened at halftime in the locker room, but it wasn't good for the Eagles.
Yeah, not the way they wanted that game to end, I'm sure.
No. But that was the only 30-point score on Criddle's roster and the only 20-point score. He almost had two.
Ooh,
Kenny Gainwell, I will
he-
not say it, had
Bones.
19.45.
He had one close.
He was close.
Bones.
Oh, yeah. And he was, I don't know, his right hand came down a tenth of a second before he crossed the plane into the end zone. He could have had another 6 points on top of that. And
Yeah, it should have been over 20.
yeah, he should have been. But
Unfortunate.
unfortunately,
We can still
yeah,
talk about him because he's got the best nickname in the league.
I will not use the nickname until it appears on like his Pro Football Reference page.
Hold on, let me do some editing.
Yep, you
Is
do
that
that.
like Wikipedia where I can just add whatever random information I want?
I don't know.
Or
That's the
do they
one that
vet that?
had Tom Brady's nickname listed as the Pharaoh.
I mean, how reputable is this site if they're calling Tom Brady the Pharaoh?
Uh, they have all these ridiculous nicknames for all the players. If you get it on there, I'll use it. Until it's on there, I will not use it.
All right, let me write a letter.
Yep. Write a letter. What year is it? All right. So not a huge day for Criddle's roster. A few other double digit players, but pretty disappointing in the bottom half of things. A lot of single digit scores in there.
Yeah,
But
Saquon's disappointing season continues. 10 carries for 22 yards.
yeah, I mean, not a lot. I got more work through the air, 52 yards on 7 catches to salvage an okay day, 14 points, but just not even close to what we saw out of him last year.
Yeah. Yeah, something is broken with this offense.
Yeah. Don't know what it is, but it has not been efficient this year. It has not been prolific this year. It has been disappointing and unpleasant to watch. All right, enough Eagles slander. Well, actually, no, there's never enough Eagles slander. We'll come back to that later. But let's take a look at Flea's roster because she's the team that won this matchup. Good number of players over 20 points here. Stafford with 25. Michael Wilson,
what a
the hero of last week.
Disappointing effort. Only 26 points.
Right.
Only 10 for 118 this week.
What a drop off. What happened to Michael Wilson? He used to be good.
Our favorite offensive coordinator, Drew Petzing, said that even when Marvin's back, that Wilson deserves to be the number 1 target. He's earned it with his play.
Did he say that?
That's what everybody wants to hear.
He's definitely earned more work. He's acquitted himself well. I'm not so sure about number 1 target.
Marvin Harrison's never coming back at this point.
Are we sure that this?
He got
are we sure that his
appendicitis?
Really, are we sure that his appendix really was inflamed? Could this be a soft appendicitis?
Oh man, that'll be embarrassing if he actually ruptures an appendix later on in his career.
All right.
Like, wait a minute, how many appendixes do you have?
Just the normal number. Okay, other players over 20 points.
That was stupid.
Devontae Adams, 26 points, continues his goal line dominance.
He's the best goal line back in the league.
He really is.
He's got more 1-yard touchdowns than any running back.
I don't understand. Like,
it's just an extended version of the tush push.
I'm not sure that's an accurate statement, but
they drop back and throw
it's about the same percentage of success. So I guess I don't have an argument against it.
We call it the West Coast tush push.
The West Coast tush push. All right. Continuing this trend of apparently this is a wide receiver 1 for Flea's team. DK with 23 points. Apparently he's just a wide receiver 1 now. Who knew? Yeah,
well, he's definitely the best returner in the league.
Yeah,
and he's turning into the Tennessee Titans number 1 receiver as well, which was a little more unexpected. When he got drafted in the 4th round, we said, well, that seems a little high for his receiving profile, but they viewed him as an elite returner, and he's definitely paid off that end of the bargain. But he's turned himself into an important part of this passing offense as well.
He has. He had 5 catches on 7 targets, only 44 yards, but got in the end zone, and then also had a return touchdown. So he gets the points for that, even if he doesn't points for the touchdown, even if he doesn't get the points for the yards.
Yep.
All right, other players over 20 in this one, just one more. Khalil Shakir, 20 points on the dot. We had one, Sam Darnold was just shy. He was at 19.
Yeah, it was a nice bounce back game from Darnold after struggling last week.
Right. No picks in this one. A solid week for Flea, just under the 200-point margin. She gets over the median. Gets the 2-0 week, which, as we already discussed, Rugg did not get, and we'll flash ahead here. Georgia Mike finished as the 7th highest scoring team, so he finished under the median. This is a big big matchup win for Flea.
Yeah, opens up a very small lead for the one of the last two playoff spots.
One thing worth noting on Flea's roster here, we are still in a disappointing situation at the tight end position. Brock Wright gave her 9.15 points. He's probably going to do things around this level fairly frequently. That offense will throw to the tight end even without Laporta. They're not going to use Brock Wright like they used Laporta, but he's still going to be on the field for 85% of the snaps and see a target or two here and there.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's not as talented as Laporta, but we know Laporta's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And we know that Brock Wright is going to be out there for almost every snap. And we know that the Lions have a good offense and, they throw a lot. So he's going to have opportunity more than he had as when he was the backup tight end. So at least it gives her some kind of floor there. But yeah, it's again, the tight end spot continues to be a trouble spot.
Yeah.
Although we did get to see Gravy in the lineup. Speaking of good nicknames.
Is it a guy? Anyway, Calcaterra, the other tight end for Flea's roster, only 2.55 points, one catch, 8 yards.
We want to talk about Gravy. It's Thanksgiving week now.
That's true. It is Thanksgiving week. Okay, not a lot here on the other side of it. Like we said, a couple of disappointing scores in the flex spots for Flea. Jonathan Taylor's fallen off a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like the last couple of games the Colts have played, the teams are defending them a little differently. They're basically gearing up to stop Taylor and daring Daniel Jones to beat them over the top, which he has been unable to do
Yeah,
the last
that's a
few
good
weeks.
decision.
So if this is going to be the formula going forward, that's going to be a problem for Taylor. If he's running into stacked boxes every down, it's going to be hard to, score 40 points a week, 3 touchdowns every week without some help from the passing game, opening things up a little bit. Because he's not a guy that will generally, tack on 7 or 8 receptions in a game to buoy his fantasy floor.
He's done that sometimes in the past, but he's not done it lately. It doesn't seem to be the way the offense works right now. Our next highest scoring team was Big's team. Big was our our 6th highest scoring team this week, and he was up against Judd, who had, for him, an unusually high scoring week. He was our 8th highest scoring team. Big put up a 189.90, and Judd put up a 141.75.
Yeah, this was a important distinction to get Big into that 6th highest score of the week, because it got him over the median, and we're going to discuss the next matchup. It was a very close margin to getting that 2-0 week.
And it was a bit of a nail biter for Big because it didn't happen until Monday night. He had some pretty important players for his squad going on Monday night. He had Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and George Kittle, who had to combine on Monday night for just over 52 points for him.
Yeah, all three of them got in the lineup.
Yeah.
They scored just enough. He crossed the threshold by about 2 points.
Right. They got over. He was
needed
very
every
close
point
at halftime and really didn't have as much of a cushion at the end of it as I thought he would have. But anyway, let's talk about the 30-point scores in this one before we get too deep into that. There was 2 30-point players in this matchup. This is bizarre. They were both on Judd's team. So Judd had 2 players over 30 points, and I don't think a single other player over 16. And only 2 other players total in double digits, I think. Oh, 3, I lied. Anyway, for Judd, he had Jameis Winston at 34 points and Amon-Ra St. Brown at 35.
Hey, that's the Jameis Winston that we know and love. Catching touchdowns.
Yeah, sure. That play was great.
Play of the year.
It was a reverse wide receiver option to the quarterback, and it's Gunnar Olszewski is the one throwing the ball. He gets the reverse, goes to throw, realizes he doesn't have room, has to climb the pocket. Looks like he's about to just take off running and get, he probably would have gotten like a 4 or 5 yard rush. It would have been a fine play, wouldn't have been a disaster. And then all of a sudden, right before the line, he just winds up and shucks it towards Jameis. Jameis, covered by the linebacker down the left sideline, had the linebacker beat. The pass is behind him. He adjusts, comes back to the ball, catches it, and then stiff arms the linebacker and walks in. What a play.
It was an incredible effort. It was probably my favorite receiving touchdown of the year.
It was probably the I don't know, like the most unusual play that we've seen for a scoring play. It was entertaining.
Jameis usually is.
Yeah, that's true. Jameis, for all his other flaws, is always entertaining out there on the field.
Yeah, I mean, he kept the Giants in this game in a tough matchup at
Yeah,
Detroit.
it's overtime.
Yeah, it was because of Jameis.
That it was. But yeah, on the other side of that game, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 35-point day, 9 catches, 149 yards and a touchdown. He's pretty good.
Yeah, we expect this from Amon-Ra.
Yeah. Yep. We expect this as often as not. For the rest of Judd's roster, DK Metcalf, 16 points. Tyler Lockett, 12 points. Devin Neal, 12 points. Everybody else, single digits. Nothing really worth talking about. However, Big, as we said, made it over that median score. And here's how he did it. 29.45 points from Christian McCaffrey, almost 27 points from Trey McBride, and 20 points from George Kittle. Those were the big ones. As we talked about, a lot of it came down to that Monday night game, and it was really Christian McCaffrey being the entirety of the San Francisco offense that got them the win and well, I don't know if they needed that to get the win against Carolina, but got them the win and got Big the win this week.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey now leads the NFL in rushing attempts and also receptions. He has 81 receptions, tops in the NFL.
Didn't you say that the next closest in terms of total touches was 80 touches behind him from
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor? You said it was 320 to 240.
Yeah, it's not even close.
That's
I mean, when you lead the league in carries and also receptions, it's going to be hard for anyone else to be close. Not just for running backs. He leads the entire league in receptions.
incredible. He had 7 catches on 7 targets this week, 53 yards. He is the entire offense right now. Somebody has to stop Shanahan, right? Like, can someone go to him and explain that Christian McCaffrey is literally going to die if you keep doing this?
Die on the field. He's so good though, and he's the only way that they can consistently move the ball, even though the rushing hasn't been efficient this year. He's been the offense for most of the season as various 49ers have battled injuries on and off.
I guess for fantasy purposes, it's a great thing to have.
Yeah, if you're getting 30 plus opportunities every week, you're going to put up fantasy points.
All right. Disappointing week for Big's quarterbacks. Jacoby Brissett, 17 points, and Brock Purdy, 9 points.
Only 49 attempts this week for Brissett.
Only.
I mean, we're at this point, we're expecting 70 every week. So
they are
49 seems like a down game.
They are chucking it.
It's because they have no running backs.
I'm not entirely sure how effective it is, but they're doing it.
All their running backs are hurt, and they're losing every game by multiple touchdowns at the end of the first quarter. This is not a recipe
really
for team success, but a recipe for a lot of passing production.
Yeah. Okay, it seems like we have to talk about this every week with Big's team, but we had a few injuries in this one. Baker Mayfield hurt his shoulder in the first half, and then he hurt it again at the end of the first half. Didn't come back out for the second half of that game. They've said it's a low-grade AC joint sprain, which means probably not long-term, but also you don't want that.
Yeah, they're hoping it's only going to be this week that he misses.
I guess we should note here, it is his non-throwing shoulder. It's his left shoulder.
Yeah. Still do get hit on that shoulder.
Right.
No, it's hard to kind of protect it completely. So we'll if it's a low grade sprain, hopefully it's
Yeah.
short term because yeah, he's very important to both Big's roster and the actual Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I would say yes. To more probably more so to Tampa than to Big. I would say on the list of importance there.
I mean, they
But
couldn't really move the ball this week with Baker, but they
it's
really
true.
couldn't move the ball without Baker.
Yeah. At least it's at least it's not like we talk about the AC joint with the running backs and the receivers. Baker can put himself in situations where he can not take as many hits. Obviously, sometimes you're just going to get sacked and it's going to collapse on you, but he can choose to run a little bit less. He can choose to throw it away a little bit more and hopefully have a chance to protect himself. So maybe he won't miss much, if any, time.
Yeah.
Also injured in this one, Alvin Kamara hurt his knee. They're saying it's an MCL sprain, which I don't think means long term, but also probably means some missed time in the next couple weeks, which is when you'd want him the most.
Yeah, it's avoided any major injuries, no tears, but MCL sprain usually comes with a multi-week absence,
Yeah.
and the Saints can't really afford to lose anybody.
Right. Well,
But
the Saints aren't going anywhere anyways. It's
somebody's got to replace that 27 yards a game that Kamara's been running for.
Yeah, Devin Neal. We just talked about him. He's on Judd's roster. Weren't you paying attention? 7 carries, 18 yards. It's close enough.
There we go. Same
You know that
thing.
Kamara's never had 1,000 yards rushing.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems weird to me.
Well,
I mean, like I
most of
know
his
it's
most of
because
his
he caught
career,
83 passes a year for like the first
yeah.
6 years of his career, but still, it just it's odd.
1,000 combo yards, yes.
Oh,
1,000 rushing
absolutely.
yards, no. He hasn't. It's strange because he really didn't turn into this type of every down rushing workhorse until late now in his career. The
Yeah,
last few years, where he's not the same explosive Alvin Kamara as his first few years in the league, the time when you probably wanted to load him up with carries. Now that he's getting on to the back half of his career, they're
right.
giving him as many carries as he's ever had. It's not been efficient.
It has not. Okay, a couple other players in this one. Unfortunately, we got a lot to talk about in this one. On Judd's roster, DK Metcalf left the game a couple different times with an ankle injury. He did finish the game though.
Yeah, sometimes these ankles we see they swell up after the game, on the flight home or the next day,
Yeah.
and we start to see them turn into bigger injuries. So we will have to see what the practice reports look like, see if he's able to get out there or not. We don't really know the severity right now.
Yep. Yeah,
Finishing the game doesn't always mean that it wasn't even a high ankle sprain. We've seen guys finish the week and then get diagnosed with it after the game.
right. They've said it's a thing will he'll be limited at practice, but we haven't seen the actual reports yet to know if he's participated at all. One other one I want to mention because it's a similar situation. Judkins left the game and went to the medical tent twice, and they listed him as having a head injury. Usually, head injury means concussion, but he's, as far as I know, not in the protocol and did come back into the game. But this is another one where it's something that you kind of want to watch and see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. We've seen players be placed in the protocol after games are over, even
Oh,
though
yeah.
they weren't diagnosed at the time. But
Don't worry, we're going to talk about that one next.
another soft benching.
You know, we told Big that we were going to make that joke, but he's just getting upset right now listening to it.
We'll
All
get
right.
there. Next
Big
matchup.
Big is every week the third guest that's not actually participating in this discussion. All right. That's it for this matchup. We have one more to get to. It was a matchup between Georgia Mike and JMC. Georgia Mike was our seventh highest scoring team at 187.10. So he got just shy of that median. And JMC was our 10th highest scoring team at a 126.84.
Yeah, there's really 7 teams competing for that median
Yeah.
spot every week. The 7 teams that are in the playoff hunt, and unfortunately, Georgia Mike drew the short straw this week and just missed out by about 2 points. It's unfortunate. Drops him still He's still
Mhm.
in the driver's seat for the number 6 spot, but yeah, it would have been in a better position with an extra win, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, players over 20 points in this matchup. There was only three. We're going to start on JMC's side because this is one we haven't been able to call out before. It was Cam Ward. Cam Ward put up 23.69 points this week. This,
Yeah,
again, by far his best game for fantasy purposes.
fantasy and
I
reality.
was
I
going to say,
mean,
and I would say, this is against a tough Seattle defense, and he had a decent game.
it was a competitive game
Yeah.
for the Tennessee. I know they got that return touchdown from DK, which helps. They seem to get return or defensive touchdowns every week to keep them in games offensively. But Ward legitimately had a good game, and he's been running a lot more the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That definitely helps the fantasy floor and ceiling if he's going to tack on some rushing production every week.
Right. This week, 6 carries, 37 yards, a touchdown, and 3 first downs on the ground. That's if you get, even without the touchdown, if you get 37 yards on the ground every week, that's a huge help.
Yep.
So that was the lone player over 20 points on that side. Colson Loveland came close, 18.4, which is nice. Again, nice to see the rookie continuing to do well. 3 catches, 40 yards.
Yeah, and the touchdown was very impressive. I mean, that was a wide receiver route that he was running basically.
Yeah, he looked good. It's like you said, it's good to see him downfield. It's good to see a tight end doing things that a wide receiver can do. That speaks well to how he will be used going forward.
Yep.
Okay, let's take a quick look at Georgia Mike's side of things. Players over 20 points. We had Caleb Williams with 24, and we had ETN with 21 points. And that's the end of that list.
Yeah, just not enough ceiling this week. That's why he was the seventh highest scoring.
Right. There was a few guys close. Indiana Jones, 19 points. Greg Dortch, 18 points. Colby Parkinson, 18 points. We've got decent scores here. He just not quite as good as you need, really.
Yeah, it's nice to see the Parkinson production. He's
No,
struggled
it's
at
not. Give it to Ferguson.
for Georgia Mike. I mean, he struggled at tight end two for a lot of the year. Pitts
Yeah.
was on bye this week, so he didn't have his normal tight end one. Parkinson kind of stepped up with Higbee on IR.
Did you say Pitts was on bye?
Was he on bye?
Nope. They played.
Oh,
Pete,
oh,
Pete. No,
that's
we're
right.
leaving this in. He wasn't on bye. He's just bad.
That's right. I forgot they played the Saints.
Yeah, no. Pitts just
I blocked that game out because it was awful.
tough week for Pitts. With no Drake London, you kind of expected a little bit more.
Eesh, maybe they should have been on bye. I mean,
May
they
as
got the
well have
win
been, I
because they
guess.
played the Saints, but
Yeah.
still, that doesn't count for a full win.
Damning with faint praise right there. All right. So a decent game for Georgia Mike here. He doesn't really lose very much ground on either Flea or Rugg in the points department. He had 187. Flea was 196. Rugg was only 212. So it's not like he slipped in the points, but losing the game against the median hurts more than that.
Yep. Yeah, it would have been nice to have that extra win this week, I'm sure.
He doesn't have a single player in his lineup in single digit points. Everyone is double digits. 10-point performances in there, but still obviously better than having guys in the single digit range.
Yeah, it was a solid floor week. Just
Yeah.
needed a little more ceiling.
So that Parkinson performance, do you think that's a sign of things to come with no Higbee? Do you think this'll hold? Because we've seen the ugly rotation and
No. I think it
no?
will still be an ugly rotation, and
Okay.
there's a good of chances Davis Allen scoring the touchdown or
Right.
Ferguson scoring the touchdown next week, as it will be for Parkinson. This is just thankfully we're in best ball, so
Yeah.
whichever one
It
gets the touchdown will get in the lineup in somebody's lineup in this league.
it didn't really look like Ferguson's role changed to me. It looked like Parkinson and Allen each got a little bit more work with Higbee gone, but that Ferguson was basically the same.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the snap share in detail, but I know they ran a lot less three tight end
Yes,
formations this week,
that's
so
true.
not as many opportunities as there have been when they had all the tight ends healthy.
Unfortunately, a few injuries in this one. On Georgia Mike's side, it was Michael Mayer. Second quarter, hurt his ankle, left the game, did not return. I did not see a practice update today.
Yeah, see, so normal teams, when they lose an important piece of their offense, like the Rams lost Higby, instead of just continuing to run a ton of three tight end sets without Higby, they adjusted. The Raiders did not. They just basically replaced Michael Mayer with Ian Thomas, who is not Michael Mayer, and Carter Runyon, and continued to run just as many two and three tight end formations for the entirety of the game, which they got blown out by the Cleveland Browns.
And they should
And
fire their offensive coordinator. That's
well,
terrible.
I think that may be part of the problem. Chip Kelly is now no longer the offensive coordinator.
That doesn't sound like a problem.
I
All
think
right.
he was part of the problem, and that's why he's no longer the offensive
True.
coordinator.
Also getting injured in this one were a couple of players on JMC's roster. T. Higgins is in the concussion protocol. And as we talked about earlier with Noah Gray, T. Higgins plays on Thursday. They've basically already said he's not playing this week.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to clear the concussion protocol that quickly.
It's
Just
probably
too many-
unsafe to do so.
Too many steps. There's a reason that they put so many steps in because they don't want people to rush through.
Yeah. Okay. One last player to discuss in this one, also in the concussion protocol, is JJ McCarthy. Apparently reported symptoms on the plane ride home after the game, and they put him in the protocol, which is what you're supposed to do.
Now, was this the head coach, Kevin O'Connell, secretly reporting concussion symptoms to the NFL anonymously?
I mean, I don't think that's the case. I don't,
He's like, I watched the tape of last night. I think you may be concussed.
I don't think that's the case, but honestly, I don't blame the conspiracy theorists out there who are saying that it is.
Yeah, it hasn't gone the way that anyone was hoping, I'm sure. The team, the player, fantasy managers, it's not been a great start for JJ McCarthy after waiting all of last year to finally get him on the field. It's kind of been a dud.
It has not been the year that I think McCarthy or O'Connell or anyone involved in that organization wanted. It's still I don't know how many starts in. Are we 7 starts for McCarthy, something like that? It's not a lot of time on the field, but the early returns have been very disappointing.
Yeah, so we'll see maybe another absence for McCarthy. If he is in the concussion protocol, then we're probably not going to see him this week.
It seems unlikely. I guess it's going to be Brosmer.
Max Brosmer. I was joking about bringing Max Brosmer in. So seems like he is now the last man standing with Wentz out for the season. McCarthy's going to miss this week. We really are going to see the rookie undrafted free agent from the University of Minnesota playing for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not sure this is where anyone was expecting to begin the season, but here we are.
The real question is, can we expect an elevation from your taxi squad for Brosmer?
I do not think that Max Brosmer would be a good elevation. I'm not expecting a lot of points from a rookie undrafted free agent making his first career start against Seattle, who was not a generous defense for for
Not the
quarterbacks.
best draw for your first start right there.
Might be kind of rough. There hasn't been a ton of rookie undrafted free agent quarterbacks that have been impactful in their rookie seasons.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't foresee that one going terribly well for anyone involved. As the manager who has Justin Jefferson on his team, how have you been enjoying this?
And TJ Hawkinson
Oh, yeah, Hawkinson
and
too.
Jordan Mason.
Okay, Mason,
I have too many
slow down a
Vikings.
little bit. Like Mason, I'll give you Hawkinson. I'll definitely give you Jefferson. Well, let's slow down on the Mason complaining.
Well, I mean, if they would like to run the ball, they try every first quarter of every game to establish a run, and then they just get down and they have to turn it over to McCarthy, and it ends in agony. So I'm sure if they were getting more competent quarterback play, it might be better for Mason as well.
And that it might be.
I mean, he was far more productive with Carson Wentz,
Yeah, he had a couple of usable weeks in
which
there.
is not great because Carson Wentz is not good.
All right, let's move on. We have one final section for everybody, as always. It is, as you put it, America's favorite section. The Dynasty Daddy percentage chance to make the playoffs. And this week we are sticking with the usual. We're not discussing the top teams. We're not discussing the bottom teams. We have a little bit of movement in the middle, though. Flea went 2-0 this week. Georgia Mike and Rug both went 1-1, which means that Flea has a 1 game lead at 16-8. Georgia Mike and Rug are both at 15-9. We have 2 weeks remaining, which means 4 games total. So there's still plenty of time for people to leapfrog up and down this. Flea has an 88% chance to make the playoffs. Georgia Mike has a 65% chance to make the playoffs. And Rug has a 47% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, the top four teams have officially clinched. You clinched last week,
Yep.
and myself and Big and Mel officially clinched this week. So there's now 3 teams for 2 spots with 2 weeks to go, and we have some fun matchups this week.
Yeah.
A lot better matchups than this week we just reviewed.
Right. So this last week, week 12, we only had one matchup between two potential playoff teams. This week, it is basically the opposite of that. All right. For week 13, we have several matchups here against between potential playoff teams. My team and Mel's team play against each other. We both already clinched playoff spots, but this has important bye week seeding implications. Big plays against Rug, that has both bye week potential and just make the playoffs potential implications. And then Flea plays against Georgia Mike, which obviously is very important for both of these teams. Al, you're the only one who gets to take a break this week. You're playing against Judd. Sorry,
Yeah,
Judd.
well, I had the only playoff matchup last week, so
Well, not the only one. Rug gets the short end of the stick. He's got 2 in a row.
sorry, Rug.
As if his schedule hasn't been mean enough to him this year.
It's been a rough matchup luck for him all season long.
Really has. All right. So this week coming up, we're gonna basically, by the end of this week, I think we will know who our playoff teams are, but there's always the potential that we don't.
Yeah, there aren't as many impactful head-to-head matchups the final week of the year, so this is probably the most important week of the season right now.
Yeah. Actually, I say that, but I'm looking at it let's say that Big beats Rug's team and Flea beats Georgia Mike's team. Then they're both tied, or let's say it goes the other way and they both win, then they're still tied. So maybe we don't find everything out this week, but there are a lot of scenarios where we could essentially have, if Georgia Mike manages to go 2-0, oh, then Flea could be in trouble. God, there's a lot of different variations on this. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a good week. And we get no teams on bye, so everyone's at full
that's the nice one.
strength. And we got a big chunk of the games early on Thanksgiving.
I love the fact that we don't have buys this week, but that means we have buys next week, which I feel like,
It's so late in the year to have buys.
yeah, it's having buys the week before the fantasy playoffs start kind of sucks. And the NFL knows that people play fantasy football. They know it's a big part of their product. Like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, probably even the buys out a little bit better than what they have been doing.
Right.
We have weeks where there's 8 teams on bye, and then weeks with no teams on bye. So,
All right. At the end of last week, I said I was going to have a bunch of information on highest scoring and lowest scoring matchups of the year, things like that. And I did all of that information and I have it all available, but I left it at work.
we're gonna have to wait
I
for
made
next
an
week.
effort earlier tonight. I called one of the guys who's working tonight and said, "Hey, can you take a picture of this and send it to me? Because it's just in a notebook sitting in my locker, and my locker's unlocked there." And he goes, yeah, I'll get to it. And I texted him when we started the show, and he goes, "We got called off to a call." And I texted him now, and he said, "We're still on the call." So apparently we're not having that tonight. I'll bring it for next week.
All right.
If I had realized before about 2 hours ago that I had forgotten it, I probably would have just redone it, but I ran out of time.
It's fine.
So unfortunately, the one thing I can tell you is yes, last week's matchup was our highest scoring between Mel and Big. That was our highest scoring on the year. And I believe there was only 4 potential matchups, hypothetical matchups that could have outscored it, where there was 4 different teams that would have, if they had been up against each other in that week, would have been higher, but none of them actually were.
Yeah, 4 other weeks where we had a higher scoring number 1 and number 2 team.
Yeah, basically. But I'll have all that information for us for next week. So everybody will have to wait on that. Sorry, folks. I think that's all we have for this week. Be back next week with more speculation about what's going to happen towards the end of the season.
Yeah, we may have a more clear playoff picture next week. We'll see how the matchups
we
go.
may not. We very well may not. I kind of hope we don't, to be honest. I kind of want it to all come down to the last week and who gets over that median score. That might just be me being me being a neutral observer in it. If I was involved in it, I definitely wouldn't be rooting for that.
Just root for chaos.
Chaos every time. All right. We will catch everybody next week, but until then,
See you in the league chat.